What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Ready to Love, The Last Resort. This is season 3, episode 4. This episode is titled Boss Moves, and let's go ahead and break this down. So, the episode starts off with nephew Tommy. He's talking to the guys now in Tommy's tavern. He's just basically letting them know that they're going to be sending 2 of the ladies home. And that pretty much wraps up that scene. Like, nothing important happened. So then we see the ladies, they're all in like that meetup room that they have, and then the guys walk in. So Naya says in her confessional that she wants to make sure that the guys know that she's interested, because of course she doesn't want to be on the chopping block. So we then see her and Chris, they're standing next to each other, and he's like, yo, like, did you sense me wanting to kiss you on that date? So she just like leans in and she kisses him, and she was like, how was that? And he's like, I want another one. And I'm like, oh, look how cute they are. I'm just kind of here for Naya and Chris right now. So we then see Jay and Simone. They're outside playing some game. It looks like Connect 4 or something. And, you know, they're just talking about how when they first met, he was actually talking to Winter, and she just kind of went on by and was like, oh, you know, can she like talk to him or whatever, scooped him up real quick. And he's like, no, like, I like that you did that, you know, and that she had some southern charm, and he called her Whitley Gilbert from A Different World, who's one of my favorite characters. But they look really cute together. They look really comfortable together. We'll see where this goes. I'm pretty sure Joy would probably she would more than likely have a problem with it, because, you know, she's been attached to Jay. And even Simone said in her confessional, like, Joy, you know, she's a favorite amongst these guys. And so Simone is basically trying to, you know, put her best foot forward. And if it happens to be one of the guys that Joy is into, hey, it is what it is. That is this competition. Y'all, so we see Denise. She's shooting pool with Calfani, her man, because I feel like I've only seen Denise really speak to Calfani and be on like that type of level with it. So they're like playing pool or whatever. And Adriana, she comes up and is like, oh, can I borrow him for 5 minutes? So he goes with Adriana, and then we see them sitting on the couch, and I mean, like, her legs are all wrapped around him. And I'm like, so you borrowed him for 5 minutes, but he ain't going back over there with Denise, is he? So they're talking, and she's like, she's like a giddy, like, teenage girl. She's just like smiling and like super happy. It's kind of weird, because I'm like, girl, you grown now. Why are you acting like this? But, you know, she was just letting him know that he's in her top, and she needs to know, you know, if he feels the same way. And he's like, yeah, you know, I like you or whatever. And even in her confessional, she's just like, oh my God, like, he has all these muscles and all these things. It's like, okay, great. He has a nice smile. Yeah, he has all these great physical attributes, but like, what else do you know about Calfani? Like, I need you to dig a little bit deeper, Adriana. So of course we see that Denise has peeped game to what Adriana is doing, and she's like, in her confessional, she's like, you look like a floozy, because of course she thinks that Calfani is her man, just like Adriana. She happened to say that Rashid was her man. And even in Denise's confessional, she's like, say what you mean and mean what you say. You said that Rashid is your man. Why are you sitting up here in another man's face? So next we see Alicia. She is basically telling Brian that she is feeling him. It's kind of weird that she's telling him this in front of Edwin. Like, you're literally sitting in front of another guy telling him that you're interested in Brian. Like, you have no interest in him. And I'm like, well, he could have been a potential boo thing. No? Okay, Alicia. So she's basically telling him that, you know, he's in her top and that she really is feeling him. But he's not exactly responding to her. Like, honestly, it made her look really thirsty. But I don't know if that has to do with editing or not. But Yeah, she looked a bit thirsty because he wasn't exactly engaging and like being flirty with her or anything like that. He was just kind of sitting there laughing and grinning. So we see the guys there working out, and I mean, like, they really are like getting it in. They are really working out. Sweat is dripping and all of that. And Joy and Denise, they're sitting there and they're like watching the guys work out. Something definitely what me and my homegirls would be doing. We would definitely be watching the guys work out. Not saying that we would be working out, but you know. So they're having a conversation about how, you know, will Denise stay focused on Calfani or will she try to date some of the other guys? And she said that she wanted to will go on a date with Anthony and then see where that goes. And also go out with Rashid, you know, just to see if she's being judgmental towards him. But I'm like, also, is this just to get under Adriana's skin? Because Adriana just kind of took your man away from you the night before. So next is a group date. It is Adriana, Denise, and Simone. And the guys are Rashid, Edwin, and Calfani. And they play a game of, what is it called? Volleyball when they're in the water or whatever. And Denise is, okay, first of all, we already know that she's athletic. And she's like a track coach or something like that. So she is being very, not, I wouldn't say aggressive, but she's definitely playing like she's not a team player. That's what it is. She's out here being a ball hog. Like she is like serving every hit, not letting Adriana help at all. But the girls, they do win the game. Again, I just think that it's a personal thing between her and Adriana. But we then see her walking off with Calfani, and you know, they're flirting like they normally do. And then we also see Adriana. She's sitting with Edwin, Rashid, and Simone. And she asks Rashid, like, what has been his interactions with Denise. Because, as you know, Denise went extra hard about him being a narcissist on the last episode. So, of course, Rashid's like, you know, I've been friendly with her. Because he's not thinking anything of, you know, him and Denise. So Adriana tells him that Denise said that he was narcissistic and how he's tall and he's light skinned and all this stuff. And he was definitely taken aback. And he's like, you know, why? First of all, everything is surface level. I've never been associated with the word a narcissist. And if you want like the guys to not judge you on like appearance or anything, then it should work both ways. Now, what got me, though, was the fact that, literally, Adriana telling him this is literally like her and Denise are kind of going, like, back and forth with, like, this pettiness that they're going to be doing. I mean, I'm here for the mess, but I feel like this is going to get, real messy. Especially when Adriana was like, oh, is this maybe, like, a skin thing? Because I've heard Denise mention skin color before. I'm like, okay, all right, this is where this is going. Real petty, real messy. So Rashid, he definitely feels some type of way because Denise said these things, and because like once Adriana even brought up the idea that this was a skin color thing, he definitely felt like, why am I being judged for being light skinned? So then he ends up asking Simone, like, oh, well, have you ever, you know, had someone say things that are like stereotypes about you? And she's like, yeah, but like I've had guys tell me like, well, they don't usually date dark skinned women because they assume that she's mixed. And she's like, I'm not mixed, I am full black. So then Adriana, she talks about her experiences. So we have this whole talk about skin color. So now Rashid feels like he needs to have a talk with Denise just so that they can kind of clear the air because he is really pissed off about it. So there's a really quick clip of Chris and Joy. They're like playing checkers or whatever. And then we see Winter and Jay. They're on a cute little date, I guess you could say. Because they were just like sitting at like a picnic table or whatever. And they were just talking, vibing with each other. I mean, they looked really good together. Um, she happened to notice that he had like a scar near his eye, and honestly, only she could see it because I cannot see it from my view. He's like, yo, like you're really looking at me, and she's like, yeah, I like what I see. So Joy may have a little bit of competition when it comes to Jay. So we go back to that group date, and Kalfani and Denise are talking, and she's like, I didn't like that last night. You had some other company, and she's talking about Adriana, and he's basically like, don't even worry about it. He, in his confessional, he's like, the women, they should be confident enough to know that, like, if I step out, then I'm gonna come right back or whatever. And I'm like, I understand what he's saying. I get all that, but like in my mind, I'm like, that kind of sound like a cheater. Like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna step out on you, but I'm gonna be back home. I'm gonna come right back. Like, no. But then again, Denise, you getting too attached. And of course, this happens every season. You have the women, they're claiming these men, and the men are like, nah, I still need to see what else is out there. We see a cute little date with Brian and Alex. They go paddleboarding on the water, and it was a bit of a struggle, but they look really cute out there. They actually make a really cute couple. And now we see Edwin. He's going out with Joy. I'm glad to see that Edwin's not just sitting there like an extra anymore. He's actually, talking to a woman that may be interested in him. Honestly, seeing Joy and Edwin together, they look cute, and they really had a great conversation about like what Joy would be looking for, because she's already been divorced before. She's dated around, and she said that she was not trying to be any guy's mama, and he said that is not what he's looking for, luckily. And then she mentions how she has been to therapy, and therapy, like, she's an advocate for therapy, and it's what got her through her divorce. And he says that he has only had one therapy session, and he doesn't feel like that was enough to really help him where he needed to go with it. So he was kind of on the fence about therapy, but it sounds like he's open to it. And so she asked him, like, so what do you do when, like, you have, like, all these things going on, like PTSD? And he's like, cooking. Cooking has been the thing for him that has helped him get through hard times and allowed him to realize that sometimes he's looking at things from a different perspective. And I mean, it was pretty cool to see him say that. He was very open and honest to begin. Let's start there. And I feel like Edwin, he seems like a really nice guy. He seems like a really good guy. I want to see more of him and Joy. Like, she even said that, like, talking to him was, like, very comfortable. So we'll see if that can grow. So we get back to the date with Alex and Brian, and they're, sitting down, having champagne, and they're actually having a conversation that I didn't expect. Like, I feel like, at first I felt like they were very, like, surface, even though they were really cute together. Like, okay, we'll see where this goes. But she asked him, what's something that is very hard for him. He's saying not seeing his daughter, who just turned 3, and then he asked her, like, what's something that she knows that he would have to be, like, patient with her about. And, like, honestly, I was like, wow, I did not expect, like, that type of question to even come up until, like, way later. But I'm kind of glad that they're actually going a bit deeper with their conversations. So Alex tells him that he's going to have to be patient with her because she has, like, a lot of vulnerability issues. Like, she doesn't like when guys, like, lay their phone down or whatever. And basically she's like, she hasn't really opened up to him. And he's like, well, you seem pretty open to me. So maybe I have, like, some type of charm or something. So they end up ending their date. They kiss or whatever, but it wasn't like, make out session. It was just like a, like, peck on the lips. Alright, so they're all at the pool, and someone asks Edwin about how he feels about like law enforcement and how things are now. And he's talking about his time on the force and all this stuff. And Shay, who honestly I have no idea who she is. I don't know anything about this girl because we never see her. Like, I have not seen her on a date at all, and this is already episode 4. But she's like, he's just talking too much for me. Like, we're here to find love, and this is putting a damper on it for me. And I'm like, girl, he's talking about police brutality and how they treat people on the force, and okay, whatever, girl. She is like clearly here just to have a good time. But Edwin, he heard her when she was like, I'm here for love, I'm not here for all this stuff. And it wasn't that he was offended, he was definitely like cool on her. Like, she's not the type of woman that he wants to be with, because at the end of the day, we're going to have serious conversations at some point in a relationship. So, well, there's one more guy not interested in Shay, whoever she is, because we hardly know her. So we then see Chris, Nia, Joy, Anthony, and Alicia. They're all like sitting down or whatever. And Alicia, she says that, like none of the other guys like her but Chris or whatever. And because they were talking about, eliminations and how the girls are going to be on the chopping block this week. And Chris is like, well, you have nothing to worry about. Like, reassurance. Okay, Chris. And then they like kiss or whatever. And I'm like, this is cute. And I think Joy, she was like, so you like found your person? And he's like, yeah. So I'm here for them, being booed up. We just need to see how the rest of this episode goes. So we next see Winter. She's like in the pool or whatever, and she has realized that she really likes Jay, but when he is around Joy, he kind of changes. Of course, he's going to change. Like, he's interested in you and Joy, but I feel like he took a liking to Joy first. So, she may be the girl that's in his top. So he like asked her, is she okay? And she's like, no, I just have a few concerns. Can we go talk? So they leave and they go talk. Where did they go talk, you guys? In her room. And I know that like this show is called like Last Resort or whatever, but I just didn't realize that they were staying in like a hotel, but whatever. So Simone happened to be in the hallway when Jay and Winter went into her room. Who knows what happened? Like for real, but whatever. Like, it's fine. Simone, you don't even trip about that, because I don't even think you were interested in Jay. Mind your business. Okay, so everyone is at like the fire pit or whatever. They're like roasting marshmallows and making s'mores or whatever. So Adriana, she takes it upon herself to talk to Denise and say, hey, like, can I pull you to the side? And you can already tell Denise is over it. So Adriana, she brings up the fact that, when they were talking to Tommy, Denise said that Rashid was a narcissist, so we're still on this. And she's like, well, the things that you listed, is it really narcissistic? Blah, blah, blah. And Denise is like, well, that's my opinion. And I can see these signs. And I feel like some people, they use the light skin privilege and all whatever else that man has that Denise was not feeling. They use it to hide their insecurities. And what does this have to do with you? Because, like, is it because he's supposed to be your man? And I was like, oh, okay, Denise. That was a mouthful. And, yeah, it is kind of weird that Adriana is going so hard for Rashid or whatever. And it's like, girl, you like him. Don't worry about Denise, because she's not even a factor. Like, you know that you like Rashid and Rashid is feeling you. Don't be over here focusing on what Denise said and letting that get into your head. So Denise, she ends up hitting her with the so when I was, playing pool with Kalfani and you decided to roll up and say, can you like borrow him for 5 minutes? Do you feel like that was an appropriate time for you to come, take him? And Adriana is sitting up here trying to be like, come up with something that's like, well, like when can I spend time with him? And Denise brought up a good point. You said to everybody that Rashid is your man. Now, I get it. We still in the beginning stages, but you already claimed him. So everybody's just going to be like cordial with Rashid. We ain't about to like throw ourselves on Rashid because you said that's your man. So focus on him. So Denise, she feels like she needs the same respect of you just need to keep it cordial with Kalfani because that is her man. So Adriana, she's over here arguing about respect, and again, Denise is kind of checking her like, you're not here to be friends. We're here to find a man, to find love. Like, what do you mean, like, the respect level isn't there? Like, honestly, Denise hasn't exactly done anything to Adriana. Now, I can understand if, like, Adriana and Rashid were like an official couple and Denise said those things, but they're not together. So I don't even understand how Adriana is feeling all of this when nothing really happened between her and Denise for her to feel like very, very much like a victim. And like Denise is like, girl, let this go. So Denise has to tell Adriana about her past relationship with the guy who was a narcissist and how like she almost lost her life and all this stuff. So now Adriana's like, oh well, I respect that. And in her confessional, she's like, I'm trying to find compassion for her, but maybe she has some issues that she needs to deal with or whatever. And yes, Denise definitely has issues that she needs to deal with, but at the same time, her opinion of Rashid has nothing to do with Adriana. Like, girl, relax. Like, that is her opinion. She's no woman there is going to like every man on this show. Now, her reasoning is her reasoning. That is her opinion. But you can't be mad because she doesn't like the guy that you like. Because if it was about any of the other guys, you probably would not have cared. So Rashid, he ends up, talking to Adriana, and she lets him know that Denise has been through some things, and that he reminds her of someone that she used to date and how she almost lost her life. And like, it's great that they had like a moment together. I'm glad that because now he realizes that she's like his ride or die or whatever, even though Kalfani is still in the back of her mind. But whatever, Rashid. I don't feel like that was Adriana's place to tell him that. Like, she literally just told you this, and 5 seconds later, you go run your mouth to Rashid. Like, I understand pillow talk, but girl, that was not your place to tell her story. Like, I thought that Rashid was going to have a conversation with Denise so that they can discuss their issue. But clearly, Adriana wanted to take control and be, super involved with whatever Rashid got going on. So we see Alicia, and she seems to be all in, for Brian. So they have like a little date or whatever. They're sitting by the pool drinking champagne. And it was really cute to see them together. This time he was a bit more receptive than he was before, because I feel like when they talked before, he was just kind of like taking the compliments, but this time he did engage with her. I just feel like Alicia is kind of I don't want to say she's a floater, but like, I just haven't really seen any guys take any interest in her. So it was good to see that Brian, he had a little date with her. They were cute or whatever. Alright, y'all. So we see Jay, he's talking to Joy, and he's basically giving her reassurance that, even if they're not in the same room together, She's still probably across his mind because I feel like they had a really good connection since this season started. Simone ends up joining them, and of course, she mentions how he went into Winter's room with no shirt on right in front of Joy. Very messy. I mean, I don't know how Jay is going to feel moving forward because I thought that, him and Simone may have possibly hit it off at the top of this episode. But I'm like, girl, might have shot yourself in the foot because you was trying to be messy. Um, but he just said that nothing happened between him and Winter. They just had a conversation, and that's kind of where that wrapped on up. So we see that Brian has walked Alicia back to her room, and they're just like joking around in her room for a minute, and she's like, oh, you should come back, we can watch a movie or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'll be back in like 20 minutes or so. Y'all, he left and he walked right to Alex's room. And I'm like, dude, you was just kissing Alicia. How you gonna walk to Alex's room? Like, how dare you? But men are men. So he goes in there, he's talking to Alex or whatever. And Nosy Shay, who, again, we don't know nothing about her. She's out here being messy. She, sees that he is talking to Alex. So what does she do? She goes and knocks on Alicia's door and tells her, yo, Brian, he just went to Alex's room. So they, walk past and they, see that he's still in her room. And he kisses Alex, and I'm just like, you just kissed Alicia, but whatever. In her confessional though, you can tell that Alicia was pretty pissed off. In her confessional, she basically feels like, dude, you could have just been up front and just not said you were going to come back to my room, or just say something. So now she feels like he a liar. And that's where the episode pretty much ended. I'm ready to see what's going to happen next week because it looks pretty interesting. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you think of Alicia and Brian? Do you feel like Brian had the right to go give Alex a goodnight kiss? Do you feel like Simone was being messy when she brought up Jay and Winter talking in that room together? How do you feel about Naya and Chris? They're already claiming each other. Just let me know what you guys think. Oh, as well as what you think of the Rashid, Adriana, and Denise situation. Let me know how you guys are feeling about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.